That takes us to the end of the first inning. No runs scored on one hit with no Panther errors, leaving 3 on, and the Panthers lead 1-0 at the end of one inning. I'd like to let everyone know we are live streaming today's game. If you have friends or family back in Kissimmee, elsewhere in Apopka, or anywhere in the world, they can tune in on our YouTube channel, Wekiva Sports. They can also watch on the NFHS network. We're simulcasting in both places. Again, you can open up the YouTube app on your favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device, search for Wekiva Sports, or you can go on the NFHS network and search for either Wekiva or Gateway if you happen to be a member there. Coming up Monday, we will have senior night. We'll be celebrating the class of 2022. We pushed that start time back to 7 o'clock to make sure that all of our parents and VIPs can get there on time, but we will be starting our senior night festivities slightly before that. So about 6:45, plan on joining us to celebrate the class of 2022, and then we will have our final regular season home game of the year at 7. You can find our complete schedule online at WekivaMustangs.com. We also remind you to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Wekiva Sports on all 4 of those services. For those of you who are joining us online on YouTube or the NFHS network, we want to welcome you to Mustang Field. Apologies for the quiet first inning. We were finishing our live stream setup, but we figured, you know what, let's turn it on, get at least the one camera working, and let you take a look and watch while we finish setting up the rosters and the audio gear. And we're going to see a hit here. Evan Hartsell with a grounder down the middle. He's safe at first. Next to the plate for the Panthers, they go to the 9th position of the lineup with left fielder number 6, Carlos Gonzalez. It is a beautiful morning, soon to be afternoon here at Mustang Field. Partly cloudy skies, a good stiff breeze, and temperatures in the upper 70s. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs and Sports Information Director here at Wekiva, joining you for this morning's soon-to-be afternoon's game. And there, Brandenburg has a hard time scooping up the bunt. Hard to say whether he would have been safe at first if that had been fielded cleanly, but One way or the other, it puts runners at 1 and 2 now. And the Mustangs will take a timeout. Both the Mustangs and the Panthers looking at rebuilding seasons this year. Wekiva has had a season of ups and downs. They're currently sitting a little bit south of where they would like to be on their record, but they are showing some improvement over the past couple of seasons under Coach Scudero's leadership. Wekiva at an 8-11 record now, hoping to finish the season at or near 500 as they head toward the postseason. Another short drop. Is it going to stay fair? Yes, it does. Yamil Dejesus lays down a short hit down the third base line, and that will load up the bases for shortstop number 11, Anthony Segarra. And Segarra takes a ball to open up the first pitch of his at-bat. Panthers, meanwhile, sitting at 2-12 on the season so far, looking to pick up a win here in the late season and end on a high note as a foul tip away on the bunt attempt. Interesting strategy there. If that bunt had succeeded, with bases loaded, the play is at any plate to get an out, and certainly at home to prevent the score. So the bunting strategy would be a unique choice with bases loaded and no outs on the board. Wekiva is going to take another timeout here. Perez wants to chat with the infield. As we've mentioned earlier, Wekiva is having their second to last home game of our 15th anniversary season here this afternoon. Coming up on Monday, we'll host senior night as we prepare to bid farewell to the class of 2022. Full swing there, chops it behind the plate. 2 strikes on the board now. And again, Wekiva will be hosting Evans, the Trojans. That'll be the last home game of the season with a 1-2 count here at the plate. And that is a time change as well. That game was originally scheduled to start at 6 and will now be starting at 7. We pushed that back to make sure that our parents and VIPs are able to all get here in time. So look for the senior night ceremony to start around 6:45. And then first pitch to be sometime shortly after 7 o'clock. That one goes straight down the middle, and Perez just can't get there in time. That's going to score 2. And the error is going to give an extra set of bases. No more runs scored on the error, but it does grant extra bases to 2 runners. Line drive down the middle, picks up 2 RBIs for Segarra. Next at the plate for the Panthers will be third baseman number 19, Nick Porjalski. Still no outs on the board. Mustangs struggling to get any momentum going on defense today. That was nearly a line out. I will not record an error for Perez on that. That would have taken extraordinary effort to pull in that line drive. But unfortunately, the Mustangs will get an error in the books for the extra bases that were awarded at the end of that play. 1-0 count. The first pitch is high. Second pitch away. That one a little closer to the corner, but still judged too high on the fastball. 2-0. Curve drops too far low and outside, and Porjalski now looking at a 30 count. This will have to be perfect for him to swing at it. Looked like he was maybe thinking about bunting, but saw it was coming low and inside at the last moment, and he'll take his base. Porjalski walks to first, and that will once again load the bases. Next at the plate for the Panthers will be center fielder number 17, Alejandro Rios. So with now no outs on the board, 2 runners in scoring position, bases loaded, Panthers have an opportunity to do quite a bit of damage here in the top of the second. Perez, that one headed for the strike zone, and again, the bunt goes fair, but I believe they're going to call interference. Runner's interference will call the out and put one away for the Panthers. Next at the plate, pitcher number 7, Liam Stern. Base is still loaded. First pitch away, that's right down the middle, headed to second. Should be a 4-3 ground out. Fielder's choice is low. Throwing it into the dirt. Not only will that score the 1 run, but it will allow a second to come home. And Coach Scudero cannot be happy with that. 2 runners score. Put 5 on the board for the Panthers. Next at the plate, catcher number 15, David Arroyo. Swing and a miss for strike 1. High fastball. Brings up an 11 count. Panez trying to get some horizontal action across the plate. Goes a little too far. It sends it too far outside for a 2-0 count. Excuse me, 2-1. That one is in the sweet spot, and Cruz will chop at it but send it just afoul of the third base line and brings up 2-2. Those of you watching us on YouTube, we want to encourage you to subscribe while you're here. We are getting extremely close to 2,000 subscribers. As Perez records the swinging strikeout, that puts 2 away for the Panthers. Next at the plate, catcher this is Arroyo. That one's into the backstop and knocking our camera askew. Let's see if I can fix your rotation here. There we go. 1-2. And a swing and a miss. Perez records the swinging strikeout, and that takes us to the middle of the second inning. 4 runs scored on 3 hits with 2 Mustang errors, leaving 2 on base. The score now stands 5-0 at the end of an inning and a half. We'll be back with more in just a moment from Mustang Field. As we enter the bottom of the second inning, the Mustangs will begin in the 6th position of their lineup with catcher number 2, Josiah McCoy. Low and inside for the ball. That one's headed into the tall grass. Not quite, though. Play is made in right field by Yamil Dejesus. 1 away for the Mustangs. Next to the plate for Wekiva, third baseman, number 18, Aiden Brandenburg. And Brandenburg will start with a strike. Pitch number 2 drops low to bring up a 1-1 count. Swinging at that one, it's headed straight to first. And nearly bobbled there by that's first baseman Weisberg, but he manages to get things under control in time to avoid the error. 3-4 ground out is made at first from Weisberg to Hartsell, 2 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, pitcher number 17, Luis Perez. And he fouls off the first one into the backstop. Once again, jostling our camera. I think we've got most of the field still in view there. Pause here for a little conference between the catcher and the Panthers coach. And it looks like Jack Mulk is coming in. We're going to get some substitutions here. So as we wait for things to get underway once again here at the ballpark, we'll remind you that we have 2 home games left in our 15th anniversary season. One is for baseball, one is for softball. Baseball taking on Evans. And that's coming up Monday at 7 with Senior Day festivities to precede that. Then softball has their senior day against Dr. Phillips on Tuesday. That is a 5 o'clock start. So we hope to see you for each of those. And then that will do it. Unless Wekiva earns any home games in the postseason, that's it for regular season spring sports. We get ready to wrap up season number 15. As I started to mention earlier, we are at 1,941 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Nothing special happens at 2,000, but it would be a great milestone to get to before the end of the 2021-2022 season. So if you are not already subscribed, we encourage you to tap the little red button. Help us get those last 59 subscribers that we need to get to that 2,000 milestone, as this is about our 4th year of broadcasting in earnest and probably our 3rd year of really doing a significant number of baseball and softball games. Want to give special thanks to our partners at Wekiva TV Broadcast Production, who have helped us out with a lot of equipment and personnel. They were not able to join us today as it's one of the weekend events, so I'm flying solo on this broadcast with just a steady shot camera and yours truly. But we do look forward to having them join us on Monday and Tuesday to bring you some multi-camera action. Neil Fisher should be back as well to help provide some commentary. And it's a great system that we've got going with our partnership between the Apopka Chief, Wekiva Athletics, and Wekiva TV Broadcast Production, bringing you coverage of baseball and softball now, in addition to some of our other sports that we host here on campus. All right. As a reminder, at a 1-1 count with Luis Perez at bat for the Mustangs. And a little too sharp on the curve there as it falls low and outside for ball 2. Now 3-1 count as that interruption in play seems to have potentially disrupted Stern's momentum. I think we had an equipment issue with the catcher. I'm not sure if it was his glove or something else, as that bounces off of Arroyo's mitt, but still inside the strike zone, so that will make it a full count for Perez. That one's right down the middle. He's going to chop at it, send it to short, and it bounces off the glove of Evan Hartsell at second. So the Mustangs catch a break there. It would have been close at first if that had been fielded cleanly. Probably a 4-3 or 6-3 ground out. Next at the plate for Wekiva, second baseman number 5, Jonathan Mills. First pitch is inside for ball 1. And got him at first. The pickoff is made from Stern to Weisberg, and that will interrupt Jonathan Mills is at bat. He'll have to wait until the third inning to finish that. And it takes us to the end of the second. No runs scored on no hits, with one Panther error leaving one on base, and the score remains 5-0 at the end of two. Back with more from Mustang Field in a moment. Welcome back to Mustang Field. Another outside ball there. 2-1 count. And now a full count for Evan Hartsell as we open up the third inning in the 8th position of the lineup. And so officially a strikeout for Perez there, but on the uncaught third strike that went wild, that'll be safe at first. Now at the plate for the Panthers, as Hartsell takes first, is number 6, the left fielder Carlos Gonzalez. Catching the low inside corner of the strike zone. That'll bring up 1-1. High ball, going for the bunt anyway, keeping it fair. That'll be a sacrifice. Play is made from Perez to Simon on the 1-3 on the sacrifice bunt. That will advance Hartsell to second. One away now, next at the plate. The Panthers return to the top of the lineup with right fielder number 9, Yamil Dejesus. And he'll tap that for another sac bunt. Back-to-back sacrifice bunts will put 2 away for the Panthers as the throw is again made from Perez to Simon, but that will advance Hartsell on to third. Now at the plate, shortstop number 11, Anthony Segarra. Fastball is high and outside. Bring up a 2-0 count. Now a 3-0 count. Sacrifice bunt is not going to do it here with 2 outs on the board. That's chopping over to second. It should be a 4-3. And it is. Play is made on the throw from Jonathan Mills to Demir Simon for the 4-3 ground out. The run does not score, and that takes us to the middle of the 3rd inning. No runs scored on no hits with no Mustang errors, leaving 1 on base, and the score remains 5-0 at the end of 2.5. Back with more in a moment. Stern records a swinging strikeout, 1 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate, Wekiva returns to the top of the card, number 3, Dalton Varney. Back-to-back strikeouts for Stern, 2 away for the Mustangs. Next to the plate for Wekiva, C.J. Goodwin. Goodwin drops one down the third base infield. He's safe at first. Up next for Wekiva, number 14, Greg Jones. Ball at the plate, but caught stealing at second, and that will take us directly to the end of the third inning. In that half inning, no runs scored on no hits, with no Panther errors, leaving none on base. Score remains unchanged, 5-0 at the end of 3. Panthers begin the fourth inning in the third position of their lineup, a third baseman number 19, Nick Porjalski, who's thrown out at first for one away. Next to the plate, center fielder number 17, Alejandro Rios. Rios walks to first. Next to the plate, pitcher number 7, Liam Stern. And a high fastball brings up ball 1. Swing and a miss for strike 2. We got a stolen base at second. Excuse me, that's strike 1. 1-1 count. Runner at 2 now. This is the pitcher, Liam Stern, at the plate, who's having a pretty good day so far. Has held the Mustangs scoreless. Perez convinces Stern to swing at that one. A little outside, might have been a strike anyway, but either way, it makes it a 1-2 count. And now a called strike. Perez records the strikeout looking, and that puts 2 away for the Panthers. Next to the plate for Gateway, designated hitter number 20, Carlos Cruz. High fastball for ball 1. One of the things that I've learned is that polarized sunglasses make this cheap screen completely and totally invisible. Yeah, particularly the older ones. So I can either see the game or I can see the screen. Fastball's going high, going up, and gone out of play behind the plate. That'll bring up a 2-1 count. Chopping at that one also, and that one's headed to left field. Excuse me, right field, and Greg Jones comes up to scoop up the fly catch in right. And that will take us to the middle of the 4th inning. 3 up and 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left on base, one on base, and the score remains 5-0 at the end of 3.5. Mustangs open up the bottom of the 4th in the 3rd position of their lineup with right fielder Greg Jones. That one almost went out of play. bumping into the backstop, and it'll keep it in an 0-2 count. Jones picks up his first ball. That one's headed out of play. And Jones is caught looking. Stern records the strikeout looking to put one away for the Mustangs. Next to the plate for Wekiva, first baseman number 20, Demir Simon. And we'll start with a passed ball. Nobody on base to take advantage of that. And that one will nick Simon on the ribs. Simon advances to first. Next to the plate for the Mustangs, left fielder number 15, Jackson Zapata. Low and outside for ball one. Up, and that one's coming over the fence. Right into the grandstands. I'm not sure about grandstands. They're, modest stands, but nevertheless, that's where the foul went. And an opportunity for the Mustangs to get an extra base. An error on the pickoff attempt. And Demir Simon will gratefully accept the offer of a free base. Jobbing of that one stays fair to third, and there's the play. If he stayed on the bag, yes, he did. Play is made from Porjalski to Weisberg. 2 away for the Mustangs. It will, however, advance Simon to third. Next to the plate for the Mustangs, catcher number 2, Josiah McCoy. So if for no other reason than to get their heads back in the game, the Mustangs could really use to pick up a run here and get some momentum going toward the 5th. They've got 2 outs, and that looked like a fastball, but then dropped at the last second into the strike zone for an 0-1 count. Second one stays high. And McCoy swings at the spot the last one went to for strike 2. And an opportunity to steal home. Well, not really steal because it was a wild pitch, but nevertheless, Mustangs on the board as Yamil Simon comes home. On the whole, Stern's having a pretty good day so far. And there he catches McCoy looking. Stern with the strikeout looking. Will take us to the end of the fourth inning. In that half inning, 1 run scored on no hits with 1 Panther error, leaving none on base, and the score stands 5-1 at the end of 4. Back with more from Mustang Field in just a moment. As we enter the top of the 5th inning, Panthers start in the 8th position of their lineup with second baseman number 2, Evan Hartsell. Hartsell advances to first. Next up for Gateway, excuse me, that was Malk that was up first. Now at the plate is second baseman number 2, Evan Hartsell. Double play on the bunt. The bunt becomes a line out to Perez, and then Perez makes the throw to first and catches Yamil Simon for the double play. 2 away for the Panthers. Next to the plate, left fielder number 6, Carlos Gonzalez. And he'll start with strike 1. Perez records the strikeout, and that will take us to the middle of the fifth inning, and that double play will effectively put 3 up and 3 down. No runs scored on no hits with no Mustang errors, leaving none on base. The score remains 5-1 at the end of 4.5 innings. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the middle of the fifth inning, and that means it's time for the fifth inning stretch. So stand up, stretch your legs, and join us now for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the Mustangs. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. High inside ball. Mustangs looking at a 3-0 count for Aiden Brandenburg here, the third baseman in the 7th position of the lineup. Brandenburg will take first. Next to the plate for the Mustangs, pitcher number 17, Luis Perez. Mustangs chanting ball 5. They're not going to get it, but they'll get something, well, still pretty good. As Perez executes a sacrifice bunt. The play is made at first to put one away for the Mustangs, and that will advance Brandenburg on to second. Next to the plate for Wekiva, second baseman, number 5, Jonathan Mills. First pitch is low for ball 1. Pitch number 2 is high, but Mills will swing at it anyway. 1-1. That one chops over to second, and that's just about the same effect as a sacrifice bunt. Play is made from Hartsell to Weisberg. 2 away for the Mustangs. That will advance Brandenburg to third, though. Next at the plate, Wekiva returns to the top of the card with shortstop number 3, Dalton Varney. And he'll get caught looking at a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Second one is high and outside, but it doesn't matter. He swings at it anyway, 0-2. Third pitch away. That one's low and in the dirt. Varney knows better. Now looking at a 12 count. And a swing and a miss. Stern records a swinging strikeout, and that takes us to the end of the fifth inning. No runs scored on no hits, with no Panther errors, leaving one on base. The score remains 5-1 at the end of 5 innings. As we enter the top of the sixth inning, Panthers begin in the first position in their lineup with right fielder number 9, Yamil Dejesus. He fouls the second pitch away to make it an 0-2 count. Also new pitcher for the Mustangs, number 16, Rodriguez. Which will get corrected on your little score bug there in a second. Dejesus will walk to first. Want to let you know our concession stand is about to close. If you would like any hot dogs, snacks, or beverages before we wrap up today, head over there now. They'll be closing at the end of this half inning. Next at the plate, shortstop number 11, Anthony Segarra. Dropping inside for strike one. Of course, again, this is Rodriguez on the mound. Which one of these days we will get to update at the bottom of your screen. It has become common now in games that go more than 5 innings, as many of them do, as long as the score is reasonably close, that you have no choice but to use at least 2 pitchers, no matter how well your first pitcher is doing, because of the FHSA pitch count rules that were implemented a couple years ago. So if you don't want to have a mandatory week of rest for your pitcher, as we'll pick up an extra base on the low ball. It is stopped by McCoy, so it doesn't get away for a wild pitch, but it did make for a relatively painless stolen base. Ball 3 just about in the dirt. And safe at third. Brandenburg was there, but the throw is just a little bit too late. Now at the plate, third baseman number 19, Nick Porjalski. And we'll pause for a Mustang timeout. Once again, this is Porjalski at the plate for the Panthers. In case you're wondering why the sound gets muted and you hear some generic sounding sporty music whenever we have a break between half innings or a timeout, it is because anytime we play copyrighted music here at the ballpark, we do not have the licensing to do that on our live streams, and we will end up with copyright issues on YouTube. So we mute that audio that's coming out of the ballpark and we play some licensed music for you instead on the live stream. McCoy has a hard time coming up with that one, and so it makes for a relatively easy steal. High fastball. Porjalski wants none of that. And that's in the dirt, and it's going to make for an easy play at home. Ball 4, Porjalski walks to first. That puts runners at 1 and 3 for center fielder number 17, Alejandro Rios. And we'll pause for Mustang timeout. And we want to invite you to our senior night festivities coming up on Monday. We have just one home game remaining on the baseball schedule for our 15th anniversary season, and that'll be against Evans. We do still have 2 more away games, though, on the schedule. Tuesday, Wekiva travels to University at 6, and then on Thursday, they will be at Gateway to complete the second half of this home and away series with the Panthers. So again, Monday at 7 with senior night to precede that. We'll be hosting Evans. Tuesday at 6, Wekiva will travel to University. And Thursday, April 28th at 6, Wekiva will be at Gateway for the second half of this series. If you don't travel with Wekiva on Tuesday, you can stay here with us, and we will be hosting Dr. Phillips for softball's senior night. That'll get started at 5 p.m. just next door here over at the Mustang softball field. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Wekiva Sports for live updates from many of our home athletic events, as well as news and information about our athletes and alumni. And, of course, we remind you to bookmark WekivaMustangs.com for all of your scores, schedules, and more, including these upcoming games as we close out our 15th anniversary year. Now on the mound for the Mustangs, number 13, Ryan Wilkerson. And Wilkerson will get his tenure on the mound started by playing some games at first base. This is Alejandro Rios at the plate. And it's a bunt. Will it roll foul? Yes. Brandenburg makes the right decision there and patiently waits, seeing that it was starting to lean toward the left, and it goes foul. That almost certainly would not have made it to first base on time if he had tried to catch it fair, and even if it had, it would have left open an opportunity at the plate. Next pitch, it falls into the strike zone, and Wekiva just not able to get the throw all the way to second. And now Wekiva caught sleeping. Anthony Segarra comes home as Wekiva just had their backs to the plate, and Segarra just covertly whistling his way to the plate, hoping no one would notice, and he was right. Swing will bring up a 1-2 count. Low and outside as the curve falls a little bit too much. That brings up a 2-2 count. Wilkerson sends one sideways and manages to catch the outside edge. Makes it 2-2. Another duplicate copy, and we'll get a swinging strikeout recorded by Brian Wilkerson. One away for the Panthers. Next to the plate for Gateway, designated hitter number 20, Carlos Cruz. Cruz fouls that one away out of play for strike one. And that one looked a lot like the pitch that caught Stern looking just a moment ago. Catching the outside edge for strike two. That one too far outside. And even facing an 0-2 count, Cruz knows better than to go after that. Wilkerson drops the curve in for the strikeout looking, and that takes us to the middle of the sixth inning. Two runs scored on no hits with one Mustang error, leaving one on base, and the score stands 7-1 at the end of 5.5 innings. Back with more from Mustang Field on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in just a moment. As we enter the bottom of the sixth inning. Mustangs start in the second position of their lineup with center fielder number 1, C.J. Goodwin. So Stern continuing to pitch for the Panthers. The Mustangs made the decision to retire their starting pitcher, who today was Luis Perez, in the last half inning, and Stern is going to pitch at least one more half inning here as he records the strikeout looking. And back-to-back strikeouts looking. We'll bring up a 1-2 count. As we mentioned earlier, this is the first game in a home and away series between the Mustangs and the Panthers. They'll be wrapping up their season with the second half of this series coming up next week. That'll be Thursday, April 28th. That'll be the last game of the regular season for Wekiva. before they go into their district tournament, and Gateway does the same. A lot of changes in the last couple of years to the way that teams build their schedules. It used to be that you were required to schedule home and away series with everyone in your district, and those district games and only those district games determined your postseason rankings and who would move on, as Stern records the swinging strikeout to put one away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate will be right fielder number 14, Greg Jones. Now, however, that is not so. The FHSAA did away with those rules a couple of years ago. It is now entirely optional whether you play anybody in your district or not, as we get a curve that drops into the strike zone for strike one. You can build your schedule however you like. You can play strong opponents, you can play weak opponents, you can do whatever you like, but whatever you do, it's going to affect your max preps rankings, which are a proprietary formula that nobody really quite understands, but the general gist of it is that your own record factors very strongly into those rankings. Your opponent's records factor a little bit more modestly into those rankings, and your opponent's records factor weakly into those rankings. Strength of victory can also have a modest effect, but it is limited at the high school level so that you do not encourage blowouts. But in any case, that max preps ranking is what determines ultimately your district seeding. So you do not have to play your district opponents at all in the year. The very first time you meet them may very well be in the district tournament. And then previously, district champions and runners-up got spots in the playoffs. Champions would get, of course, home games, and runners-up would be on the road, as the Mustangs next put up first baseman number 20, Demir Simon. That is no longer true. Now only the district champion has a guaranteed berth in the playoffs, and they will be playing home games in the first round as we get a low outside ball on the curve. The remaining 4 spots in each regional playoff bracket are taken by at-large wildcards. So one district could get all 4 of those wildcards. Other districts might get none. It all depends on how strong the teams are in that district and what their max preps rankings are. So you will guaranteed get one team in each district into the regional playoffs, but the second slot does not necessarily get evenly distributed to the districts as it used to. Greg Jones is awarded second base on the balk. And we'll pause for a little timeout as the umpire explains to Stern what he did. So the bottom line is that change in FHSAA scheduling practices has really adjusted the way that coaches think about their schedules. Not just in baseball, but in all of the other major sports, or certainly major team sports as well. Part of the reasoning behind that was to avoid forcing schools to travel. When you live in a metropolitan area like Orange County, it's not as big of a deal because your district opponents are not going to be that far away. But if you are in 4 or 5A and you are out in, the Gainesville area or the Panhandle or Southwest Florida, you could be driving an hour and a half or 2 hours to get to a district game. And those games were mandatory. You didn't have any choice but to play them. That is no longer true. So that was part of the reasoning behind it. The other part of the reasoning was that, and Wekiva, maybe not in baseball, but in some other sports, fell victim to this several times, that you could be the third best team in a really, really strong district and not make the playoffs. Meanwhile, a really weak team in a weak district did make the playoffs, simply because 2 teams had to make the playoffs, and you find out that the team that got shut out of the playoffs beat the teams that did make the playoffs, and there was considered some inequity there. So that was the reason they made that change. As Simon walks to first, and that'll put runners at 1 and 2 as we pause for a Panther timeout. Next to the plate for the Mustangs, left fielder number 15, Jackson Zapata. Curveball falls low and outside, but stays in the zone for strike one. Second is inside, chopping at that one, and it's going foul out of play. Good powerful swing there by Zapata. If that one had been just a fraction of a second earlier, or later rather, that could have been a long ball. Instead, though, it's strike two with runners at 1 and 2. Third pitch coming. That one also heads to the strike zone, and with an 0-2 count, Zapata knows he's got to at least make an attempt at that one. He does exactly what he's trained to do, fouls it away behind the plate, waits for a better pitch. And a low outside one gets away from David Arroyo at the plate, and we'll get a free base. For Moya and Simon. They move on to 2 and 3, 1 and 2 count at the plate. That one's going deep. Will it stay fair? No, but it's caught anyway. It is in fair territory. First run scores on the sacrifice fly. The second run does not, and that will be the third out. And so that takes us to the end of the 6th inning. 1 run scored for the Mustangs on no hits with no Panther errors, leaving none on base. And that makes it a 7-2 ball game with 1 inning left in regulation. Back with the conclusion of our Saturday afternoon baseball event right after the quick break. As we enter the top of the 7th inning, the Panthers will start with an insertion into the lineup. Number 12, Jack Malk. Still have Wilkerson pitching here. At least at home, he's been a favored relief pitcher for Wekiva. Opens up with 2 balls here, though. This would have been Arroyo at the plate, and the substitution makes it Malk. That one is headed toward foul territory, but it is catchable, and the play is made. Mustang foul out catch recorded by Dalton Varney, and that'll put one away for Gateway. Next at the plate for the Panthers, second baseman number 2, Evan Hartsell. First pitch is high, ball 1. High and outside, 2-0 count. Just a bit high and inside. And now a true batter's count, 3-0 for Hartsell. And in the dirt on the outside corner. He didn't need to swing at that one, and he didn't. Hartsell walks to first. Next at the plate will be left fielder number 6, Carlos Gonzalez. Curve falls a bit too far, low and outside, ball 1. That one catches the outside corner. Another one headed to the outside corner. That one headed a little too far outside, though. 2-1. Good-looking chop, but a swing and a miss. 2-2 count now for Gonzalez. And barring a 5-run comeback from Wekiva, this could be the last series for the Panthers. Strikeout at the plate. Tried to get the pick at first, not there. Wilkerson records the swinging strikeout. 2 away now for the Panthers. And now, Gateway returns to the top of the lineup guard with right fielder number 9, Yamil Dejesus. As the wind starts to really gust toward home plate, it's going to be quite an effort for anybody to hit one out of the park today. Strong headwinds coming in. So we get a ball at the plate, another attempted pick at first. Wilkerson really favoring that fastball slide across the strike zone. So far, he's got about a 50-50 record with the umpire, catching the inside or outside edge of that strike zone. Another pick attempt at first. As Gonzalez and Demir Simon for the Mustangs both tentatively look up at the umpire. That one, I think, a little bit more obvious. He made it back in time. Wilkerson also has shown a little bit more predilection toward going for those picks at first than his previous 2 pitchers that we've seen this game. That one high for ball 3. Wilkerson was hoping that was going to drop at the last second. It started to drop, but it didn't drop far enough. Dejesus walks to first. That puts runners at 1 and 2 for shortstop number 11, Anthony Segarra. And now Wilkerson records strike one against the slapper. And draws a foul on the second strike. Of course, different dynamic when you've got a right-handed pitcher against a left-handed batter. This is perhaps a more favorable matchup for Wilkerson. See if he's able to take advantage. That one fouls away and gets stuck in the backstop. And caught looking. Wilkerson records the strikeout, and that takes us to the middle of the 7th inning. No runs scored on no hits with no Mustang errors, leaving one on base. And the score stands 7-2 at the end of 6.5. Okay. As we enter the bottom of the 7th inning, the Mustangs will begin in the 6th position of their lineup with catcher number 2, Josiah McCoy. And McCoy opens with a strike looking. Second one is high. McCoy will foul it away. That'll bring up strike 2. Stern records the strikeout, put one away for the Mustangs. Next to the plate for Wekiva, third baseman number 18, Aiden Brandenburg. And he'll open with ball 1. Strike looking on pitch number 2 for a 1-1 count. Third pitch falls a little too far. It was right across the plate, but too low. 21. That one caught the outside corner of the strike zone. Boy, that looked a lot like the pitches we've been seeing from Wilkerson on the Mustangs side. That brings up 2-2. Trying to make the same magic happen again. That one falls a little bit too far on the curve. Brings up 3-2 on a full count. Brandenburg walks to first. Next to the plate for the Mustangs, pitcher number 13, Ryan Wilkerson. So this was originally the spot occupied by Perez in the lineup. When Wilkerson came in as a relief pitcher, he also took over that spot in the batting lineup. Now taking the mound for the Panthers, number 23, Andrew Champagne. Wilkerson pops one up. This is going to land in fair territory, and it is caught. Catch is made at third base by Nick Porjalski. 2 away for the Mustangs. Next to the plate for Wekiva, second baseman number 5, Jonathan Mills. This will be the 9th position in the lineup for Wekiva. And a strikeout looking. Panthers 1 out away from closing out this one on Saturday afternoon. Swing and a miss is going to put up strike 2. And again, those FHSAA pitch count rules very likely playing into the decision to take out Stern with only 2 batters left. Otherwise, obviously, you would like to have seen him get a complete game as well as he's been pitching today. Mills fouls it away. That keeps us at a 1-2 count. Another pitch fouled away. This one into the backstop, so still a 1-2 count as Mills fights, try to make this game last just a little bit longer. That's popping up. It is catchable. Foul out catch is made by Kendall Weisberg at first, and that's the end of the ball game. Panthers 7 runs on 4 hits, 4 Mustang errors. Mustangs 2 runs with 2 hits on 2 Panther errors. Final score 7-2 Panthers here on Saturday afternoon baseball action. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon to support your Mustang and Panther athletes. Thanks also to those of you who joined us online on YouTube or the NFHS network. We remind you senior night is coming up on Monday. And that'll be a 7 o'clock first pitch with senior night festivities to precede that as we bid farewell to the class of 2022. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Wekiva Sports, and bookmark WekivaMustangs.com for all of your scores, schedules, and more. We'll see all of our Mustang and Panther fans on Thursday at Gateway for the second half of this home and away series at 6 p.m. Those of you who joined us online, thanks for tuning in. Those of you here in the ballpark, please drive carefully and arrive home safely. Have a great weekend. This has been a presentation of Wekiva High School Athletics in association with Orange Technical College, both a proud part of Orange County Public Schools. Good night and good afternoon from Mustang Field.